Hello everybody, and welcome to TJ's Lego Room, and today I am announcing the brand new contest. I know a lot of you guys are probably excited. So a while back, one of our friends here on YouTube, Shadow Dancer, was also one of my very first patrons, asked if I would be willing to support a project for him, or to work on a project for him. And the question he asked to get the ball rolling on this was, what if Star Wars had a NASCAR type of sport? Now, unfortunately, due to my own time constraints and the plethora of other projects on my plate, the concept hasn't gotten very far. But I was inspired by the overwhelming support from all of the entries in the Minoc 3 contest, and I thought, you know who'd be really good to move this project forward? You. The amazing builders out there who've participated in my last couple of contests. I've never been able to let somebody besides myself work on ideas that I'm very passionate about or that I love. But you have really showed me what you can do, and you guys have earned my trust. So here is your next contest challenge from TJ's Lego Room. We are going to build a Repulsorlift racer sport in the Star Wars universe. So does that mean we're making pod racers? No, it does not. I see pod racing as more of like the Formula One version of racing in Star Wars. It's super high speed. We have very, well, it's just built, it's engineered for speed, you know? And nothing to me seems more engineered to speed on Earth than Formula One racing. It's incredibly fast paced. The pilots have to have super quick reflexes, just like pod racing. And when I look at pod racers, they're just giant engines with a person strapped to them in a chair, basically, right? Which is cool. It's a really cool idea. It reminds you of the chariots of the past. But again, that feels a little bit more of the Formula One style. This is going to be more based on smaller ships with specific characteristics that'll be closer to like a consumer level of vehicle. Now, I know this may sound a little bit daunting, but I have broken it up into multiple parts. So stay tuned. We're going to go over that. Let's start with the name. The name of the organization that runs these races in the Star Wars universe. There were, of course, multiple of these organizations, but in the end, one came out on top, and it was the Outer Rim Assembly of Small Repulsorlift Racing. Now, the reason why it was called this, or the ORASRR, or ORACER, the reason they did this is because they wanted to differentiate themselves from the massive engines that were being placed on regular repulsor lift vehicles like land speeders and skiffs and stuff like that. So they came up with their own acronym, they came up with their own idea, and so it started out as the Outer Rim Assembly of Small Repulsor Lift Racing to differentiate itself from pod racing. Now, in each race officially recognized by the ORASRR, 3 different types of repulsor lifts are allowed: vane, array, and cluster. While each of these have different methods of building and advantages of arranging their anti-gravity systems, each one is approved for competitive racing. The first stage of the contest to help build out this new sport in Star Wars, or, you know, inspired by Star Wars, is going to deal with vane type repulsor. So your job is to build a hovering vehicle that uses repulsor lift vanes as their primary hovering, well, in a lot of ways, it's as their only hovering mechanism. So using ships like the Desert Skiff from Return of the Jedi, or even taking some design cues from the Pisana Speeder Chase, the Pisana Speeders, from The Rise of Skywalker. All of those have very good visual cues for what you would look for if you were building a vane type repulsor lift. They are, of course, rough designs. I don't expect them to be exactly like that. I would love to see some integrated vanes into some more traditional type land speeder type stuff. All great ideas. None of them have to be exactly what I'm talking about or what I'm thinking of. I think some of you are going to jump on board with this and just be inspired immediately on what you want to do. And I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. Your ship, of course, can have thrusters or jet engines like most of the ships in Star Wars, most of the repulsor lift vehicles do. However, due to the size constraints that we'll be working with, I am going to limit the size, the diameter of those engines to less than 4 studs in diameter. That means if you have a 4x4 round plates or round bricks and stuff, it needs to be smaller than that. I'm not going to accept the 4x4 round engine style. It needs to fit within that diameter, which I think is like 1.25 inches, and I can't remember the millimeter measurement. I'm an American. The ship does need to be minifigure scale, but it cannot be any bigger than 16 studs wide and 32 studs long. Now, I know that sounds a little bit big, but when I used a lot of these speeders for reference, that's about what these things are. I mean, they're just barely within the 16 studs wide and 32 long. It's not quite as big as you think, and when you start designing curves and things like that, it makes a difference. And the other reason is because if you have like little antennas and stuff like the desert skiff here, sometimes those may reach right on the border of it. I think antenna sticking over by like one stud would probably be fine, but try to keep it within that. It also has to do with what I'm going to be doing with the results of this contest later on, but that's a story for another day. The other rules for this are that it can either be physical or a digital build. I will be accepting digital builds for this. All submissions will need to be in by October the 8th before midnight. That's going to be a Friday night. And then on October 9th, I will be putting together that video, uploading all of the entries, and we will begin voting the same way that we did with the Minoc 3 contest, where in the video where I announce everything, I'll assign every entry a number, and then you just leave your top choices in the comments below. That worked out extremely well last time. So we're going to do it that way again, because that actually did work. The winners are going to be announced on October 16th, and each of the top 3 builds will receive an 80% off coupon from my Rebrickable store and have their builds entered into the finals. That's right. That's what I said. The finals. On October 9th, in addition to a video announcing each of the entries for voting, I'm going to begin the second phase of the contest, where one of the remaining 2 Repulsorlift, which is clusters and arrays, will be selected as the basis for phase 2 of the contest. The second phase will end in November, and then there will be a third phase covering the final version of Repulsorlifts that will end in early December. Then, once the final build phase is complete and we've got winners for all 3 different categories of repulsors, there will be a 1-week deliberation between myself, a few of the trusted Lego builders that I'm in contact with, some Star Wars fans, and of course my patrons, as to which of the designs will make the final cut and become the official templates for the ORACRR circuit. And before I forget, all of the contest entries need to be sent to tjscontests@gmail.com. That worked really well last time as well, so we're going to go ahead and import that over into this contest. It's a very easy way for me to organize all the entries, make sure I don't lose any of them. Some of them do end up in the trash folder, but I do check that regularly. So hopefully we won't have a problem with that. Now, the grand prize winners for each of the 3 different categories of repulsors will also receive, as of right now, an undetermined Lego set if you're in the US, or an equivalent gift card for all of our friends abroad. So that should answer a couple questions there. Of course, this contest isn't just going to be to set up some racing vehicles in the Star Wars universe, or inspired by Star Wars. But I'm actually hoping that it's going to be kicking off a continuing story within the NASCAR of Star Wars, the O-Racers. And I have some extra plans in the works to make this an amazing new section of the TJ's Lego Room Expanded Universe. I'm also going to be making versions of the winners myself, probably multiple versions in multiple different colors and similar styles. Kind of like you see in NASCAR, where you see the cars very much look the same, but we got different colors. So again, we're going to have public voting for each of the 3 sections that will happen. There is a little bit of an overlap. If you do win the top 3 in in any of the Repulsorlift sections. I think the fair thing to do would be to ask any submissions that you have for the following ones to not be able to make the top 3 in that one. You're welcome to submit still. We'd love to see what you come up with. Obviously, if you're really good at building one version, you're probably good at the others as well. If you have an issue with that, let me know. Contact me some way, and we can talk it out. But from what I've heard from a lot of people talking is they don't want one person who's a really amazing builder to build all 3 of them, and it basically becomes their thing. And I totally understand that. I get that. But we'd love to see what you have. Your builds for the following speeder contest just won't be eligible for the prizes. But hey, it still could be fun to enter, right? Everybody's so kind when we do this. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with for this first contest. So it's starting today. I know some people may be wondering, wait a minute, this didn't come out on Saturday. One of the reasons is because September 11th is a National Day of Remembrance here in the United States. And I didn't think it was appropriate for me to upload something on September 11th that didn't really pay tribute in the way that I think it should probably be honored for the loss of life on that day. All right, and that's everything. I hope you guys are having a good Friday. And hey, it's the weekend. I hope you guys are as excited as I am for the weekend. I certainly am. And just as a little teaser, this is the Minoc 3, the winner of the contest. This is the TJ's Lego Room rebuilt version. And why is it all taken apart, TJ? I wonder if it's so that I could see the insides and possibly transform those into a digital form? I don't know. It couldn't possibly be that, could it? All right. Thank you so much. I want to give a special thank you to my patrons as well. If you hung out this long, to Tantan, to Mike, and to Mustafarian. You guys are awesome. I appreciate everything you guys do. And we'll catch you next time in TJ's Lego Room. So until then, play well.